Greetings! With the exception of two new photos provided by NASA of the SLS rocket hydrogen leak repair effort at Launch Pad 39B, there isn't much news to report about the Artemis schedule. Space Launch Delta 45 issued a two-paragraph statement acknowledging NASA's waiver request, providing no new information about the timetable for their ongoing review. It does re-emphasize their role in ensuring public safety. The third scheduling conflict for setting dates this month, in addition to the DART asteroid impact and the SpaceX Crew 5 launch, involves the Delta IV Heavy NROL 91 launch from Vandenberg, scheduled for Saturday, September 24th at 4:50 p.m. Eastern. Thanks to a new report from the GAO, we've learned a little bit more about the status of the first human Artemis lunar mission, and a short report written by NASA engineers from the Marshall Spaceflight Center for presentation at the 73rd International Astronautical Congress, IAC, in Paris later this month, gives some insight into the SpaceX human landing system. The most interesting revelation from the GAO concerns the Artemis II mission. 4 astronauts will ride the SLS rocket for the first time and take the Orion capsule on a lunar flyby mission, replicating the Apollo 8 mission but without entering lunar orbit. GAO writes that NASA is already underestimating risks to achieving the Artemis II launch date. NASA believes it needs 27 months after Artemis I to conduct Orion integration activities and reuse of Orion avionics. The continued delays for Artemis I means that even if NASA miraculously launches this month, Artemis II cannot logistically happen before December 2024, 7 months later than the planned May 2024 date. While not specifically mentioned in this report, it's apparent that given the history of Artemis, a launch deeper into 2025 is the best we can expect. The GAO report is less informative about the Artemis III target launch date, although Figure 3 shows in graphic form the minimum time between second and third flights, which is apparently about 8 months. For now, this is allowing NASA to still claim 2025 as the potential year for the lunar landing. Realistically, of course, 2026 would seem to be the very earliest landing year. We note that NASA TV is still showing Artemis with the original and always totally unrealistic 2024 landing date. The GAO dinged NASA over its lack of mission-level or agency-wide guidance for scheduling. They also repeat their observation that Artemis is actually not being managed as a true program, something that outside observers would find puzzling. GAO notes that Artemis missions don't have key decision point reviews or a dedicated life cycle process. GAO found that NASA has awarded contracts for Orion, SLS, and the Exploration Ground Systems valued at $30 billion for up to 14 Artemis missions into the 2020s without an overarching program structure. Turning to the human landing system, an interesting graphic displays the 3 different variants of Starship that are needed to fulfill the lunar role. A tanker, a very large storage depot for propellant, and the HLS Moonlander. Note how long the storage depot is depicted, a monster almost as tall as the Super Heavy booster. This drives home the amount of development needed for Starship to succeed. Additional graphics show the landing system development path. The text says that the first orbital flight of the integrated Starship system will come, quote, in the next year, unquote. Under the proposed Artemis III HLS Starship mission architecture, the Super Heavy booster will first deliver a depot Starship to Earth orbit. This will be followed by several flights of tanker Starships, which will deliver mission-critical methane and oxygen propellants to the depot. Once a sufficient load of propellant has been delivered, the Super Heavy booster will carry the HLS Starship to orbit. The 9-meter diameter, 50-meter long HLS Starship will rendezvous with the orbiting depot and take on the propellants required to execute the lunar landing mission. Once fully loaded, the HLS Starship, powered by 6 Raptor engines, will perform translunar injection and begin its journey to the predefined near-rectilinear halo orbit, NRHO, where it will complete vehicle systems checkouts and loiter waiting for the Orion spacecraft, which will carry 4 crew members and be launched on the SLS. Orion will dock with Starship, and 2 crew members will transfer into the vehicle. With the crew on board, the Starship will undock from Orion, deorbit, and land on the South Pole. After days on the surface, the HLS Starship will ascend back to NRHO and rendezvous with Orion. Once the crew transfers back to Orion, Starship will undock and complete its disposal. At this point, the NASA mission with Starship will be complete. Orion will then carry the crew back to Earth. Note that although the associated graphics show 4 tanker launches to the depot, the text doesn't specify a number. The design and development discussion says the aft docking mechanism design on Starship is key to the propellant transfer architecture. It says that extra effort is needed on the landing, navigation, and sensor systems to deal with the difficult low sun angles at the South Pole. The vital docking system between Orion and Starship also merits attention in the report. It states significant efforts are defining docking maneuvers and its associated navigation and sensors. For this weekend's potential launches, now there are 3. 2 Falcon 9 Starlink launches remain on the agenda this weekend, along with the Firefly Alpha test flight. Saturday's Starlink launch includes the AST Space Mobile satellite. According to Elon Musk, this will be the most complicated Falcon launch yet, with 4 upper stage burns needed to place the Blue Walker 3 and Starlink satellites into separate orbits. The ABL Space Systems RS-1 demo launch has been pushed back to Monday the 19th. And Blue Origin's NS-23 suborbital science payload mission is now scheduled for this coming Monday, the 12th, at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. For your Saturday, the best national day we could find was National TV Dinner Day. Since the relationship of microwave meals to television was severed years ago, this day is probably a tired anachronism. And that's the way space is today. Until tomorrow, ad in explorata, toward the unknown in the measureless arena of space. Stay tough and competent. Thanks for watching.
Signs of moderating inflation in China and increased confidence that the Fed will contain inflation boosted Wall Street again today, with the Nasdaq up 2% and the Dow rising almost 400 points. Only 4 of our space stocks were down. The big winner was Oceaneering International, up 11%. Bouncing off its recent losses, AST SpaceMobile was up 7%. Reporting from cyberspace, this is correspondent Karen Calvis.